Bucks in Milwaukee. Embiid finished with 42 points and 15 rebounds, while Giannis flirted with a triple-double, totaling 32 points, 11 rebounds, and 9 assists. James Harden didn't play for Philly, but they expect Harden debut after the All-Star break. So, Shannon, what's your biggest takeaway from Philly's win at Milwaukee?
Well, Philly's a legit contender, and I believe James Harden makes them more of a contender, Skip, than Ben Simmons. I believe their ceiling with James Harden is higher than with Ben Simmons, for the simple fact James Harden can go get buckets on his own if needed to, and if you foul him, there is no hack of Harden, because he's going to go to the line. He'll make 15 to 17. He'll make 15 to 16. I mean, we've even seen him hit 19 to 20 free throws. So I just believe their ceiling is a lot higher with James Harden than it was with Ben Simmons. But Joel Embiid, and we're going to talk about this, Skip, he's right there. He, Nikola Jokic, and I think the odds just came out yesterday, and he's a slight favorite to win the MVP over Nikola Jokic, and they're both in front of Giannis. I think Giannis was third. So it just goes to show you the type of season that Joel Embiid is having. He's been unbelievable. But they need James Harden. You're not going anywhere with Tobias Harris as your second best player. And plus, we've seen when the offensive load, when Ben Simmons is the only guy that can go get you buckets, he's gotten past the second round no time. In the 4 straight years, he's made it to the second round, and that's where the bus stopped. So I believe James Harden gives them that extra opportunity. Ben Simmons was sensational last night. They threw everything. They had tried Giannis. They tried Bobby Portis.
They tried Embiid. What?
Excuse me. Yeah. Embiid was unbelievable. Mm-hmm. They tried Serge Ibaka. They tried Bobby Portis. Giannis said, "Let me have him." Giannis is just too light in the britches. Giannis need to weigh about another 100 pounds, Skip, and then he'd be right. He'd be ideal weight-wise for Joel Embiid. Because, man, Joel Embiid, Skip, he put that big old butt on him, and they just go flying like bowling pins.
They do.
So there's nothing you could do about it. But I will say this. I believe Philly played as well as they can possibly play last night, and they beat Milwaukee by 3. I don't think Milwaukee played that well, because Chris Middleton did not play very well at all. Chris Middleton...
He was 6 of 20.
He was 6 of 20. Skip, we know that you talk about a guy that has a mid-range game and can hit big-time threes.
He does.
He's that guy. But I thought Giannis was unbelievable. Giannis poured it on late. In the fourth quarter,
he did.
He was sensational. Holiday was Holiday, but give those guys credit. Give them credit. Niang played well. Tyrese Maxey played well. There's a reason why they didn't want to get rid of Tyrese Maxey. Remember, Rich Paul said, "I want Ben Simmons and Tyrese out of there." Durham Morris said, "Tyrese, we'll oblige you with Ben Simmons. Tyrese Maxey's not going. Maxey's not going anywhere."
Nope.
So I will say this, Skip. Philly is going to be formidable. Joel Embiid believes that this is my time. And when you get a guy, we've seen guys when they feel it's their time, you're going to have hell on your hand getting them up out the playoffs. Now, if James Harden can come in and understands, let me go ahead and make sure Joel Embiid goes on and continues to get his 30, get his touches. I can get mine because I can go one-on-one at any given time, especially when Joel leaves the floor. This is my time to shine. This is when I do all my one-on-one, my start, get to the basket with either hand, Skip, and force the officials to either make a call or make or say no call. They're going to be formidable, but I still like the Bucks. But Joel Embiid, wow.
So you're ready to admit that I've been right all along. Joel Embiid is the best big man in basketball.
No, I'm not ready to admit that.
I think you just said that.
No, I did not say that.
You as much as said that.
Did you not see Nikola Jokic? Did you see what he did to Golden State? Did you just see what he did? 35, 17, and 8. The game-winning kick. No look.
Did Draymond play?
That ain't nothing to do with it.
You always tell me Draymond's the glue.
Whoa. So Draymond go guard Jokic?
Jokic is leading Denver to the 6th seed as we speak. Okay? That's all you need to know. He's the 6th seed. End of story.
Minus Murray, minus Porter Jr.
Yeah. Minus Ben Simmons, right? Minus Ben Simmons. He has done all of the above. You're going to be so wrong about this trade. The Nets are going to be running away with this trade before it's all over. Because my biggest takeaway last night was not that Joel Embiid is the best big man in basketball, not that Joel is better than Giannis, even though that's what it looked like last night. Giannis was very good last night, but I think even you saw Joel was a little better.
I thought he was good. Skip, I thought Giannis was good late. He scored 16 points. He had 4 rebounds and 2 assists and a steal, a couple of turnovers. No, I thought he was good late. because he scored 16 of his 30 in the fourth quarter.
Did.
The first 3 quarters, Skip, he was not very good.
Okay. Joel Embiid was great from the tip to the buzzer.
Yep.
And last night, you got to watch the Sixers universe revolve around Joel Embiid.
Right.
He was the sun, right?
Yep.
Last night. Everything went through Joel. And all he did was go 14 of 21 and make 3 of 4 threes. And he made another one that I thought was 4 of 4, and they called it a 2. So he could have had a 4th 3. He missed another one, but it could have been 4 of 5
Right.
at that point. And obviously, he kicks in his 14 rebounds and his 5 assists because he's a pretty good passer.
Right.
He's not Jokic as a passer, but he can really dish the basketball. And he gets to the line so much more than Jokic does.
Right.
And last night, it was 11 of 14. That's kind of an off night for him because he's usually 13 of 14. So he will wind up the year as he did a year ago. He'll shoot another third more free throws than Jokic does. Jokic just
Hell, he gonna
doesn't.
shoot more free throws than everybody.
Okay, that is correct. He runs away with that, and he'll still make 85% of them, which is way beyond LeBron James, but that's all.
Don't do that, Skip.
Okay, back to business here. My biggest takeaway at the end of the night was I believe the Sixers were better last night without James than they will ever be with James Harden. I believe that. All of a sudden, everything's going to change for the best big man in basketball. Everything, the sky is going to fall on MVP frontrunner Joel Embiid when James comes to play. Because James wants the basketball. James is going to dominate the basketball, and Joel's going to be...
You know, I see what you did, Skip Bayless. You think you're slick. You think you're slick, Skip Bayless, because what's going to happen, James Harden comes back, and all of a sudden, Jokic or Giannis overtake him, and you're going to say, see, James Harden ruined it. Joel Embiid was the MVP frontrunner until ball-dominant James Harden did it.
Well,
that's what you're about to do.
Do it. No, and again, that wasn't my MO here. That's not my goal. My goal is wins, losses, playoff advancing,
Okay.
and they're just... It's going to be a dead end for Joel Embiid in the playoffs with James as his distributor.
This been a dead end without James Harden.
Okay,
They get to the
I'm just telling you, I like this team. I like what I saw. That was their most impressive win of the year because you love the Bucks, right?
Yes, it was. I'm not going to argue that, Skip.
Right. And from start to finish, it looked like a basketball team revolving around Joel.
Right.
And Joel was happy he was engaged because he knew he could get the ball or distribute the ball from the post whenever he wanted the basketball. And it was fine that Tobias took 20 shots. So, like, Joel took 21, but Tobias took 20 shots, right?
Yes.
And then they got contributions, as you said, from Niang. And listen, Tyrese Maxey, I told you this before the trade deadline, he can just flat out play. So
look at him from the free throw line.
All right. Well,
10 of 10.
Okay. Pretty good. Right?
Yeah, that's very good.
He's just a player, and Doc knew it right away. They're not going to give him up. They're not going to let him go in a trade because he's too good. He's what I call a near star in the NBA. He's not going to be an all-star, but he plays quasi-star basketball.
Right.
And any given night, he can be a star. Well, the point is that last night you got to see the best of the Sixers because all of a sudden James is going to take the show over from Joel. I don't care what you say. He's high usage rate. He will lead them in usage rate from the day he steps onto the floor because he's always close to leading the NBA in usage rate, if not leading.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you believe the Sixers would have gone farther with Ben Simmons as opposed to James Harden?
Sure, but I always thought that.
But Skip, have you not watched them the last 4 years?
They're just growing up, and he's growing up. I love him as a player. Watch how he fits in with the Nets.
But that's a different situation because they don't have anybody with their back to the basket, and he can be used more as a back to the basket guy. Remember, Skip, Joel Embiid played better with Ben Simmons out. Ben Simmons played better with Joel Embiid out. But you can't win like that because you need these two guys to play together because they step on each other's toes.
Well, I can just tell you this. Ben Simmons is a better fit than James Harden is.
Well, we're about to find out.
We are definitely going to find out because Embiid's going to quickly get sick and tired of watching him dribble.
You hoping he gets sick and tired.
Dribble. And then you know and I know James cannot be trusted once the playoffs start.